Welcome back guys, and in this video we are going to continue from where we left in the previous video. Okay, if it in case this is the first time you are landing on my video, this is the YouTube series on reactjs and node.js application development sample application for registration and login in the processed manner. Okay, and if suppose if you are liking my video, you are having any doubts, anything, just put it in the chat box. If you like my video, just hit subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you will get notified whenever I'm updating new content. Now let's start with the actual video. This specific file that we have created in the last video, and we connected to the database successfully. We have only created the connection, but not you cannot able to insert anything to that. For that, what we need to do is we need to create another file, and this file I'm just going to name it as login.js. Both login, both registration, everything will be kept within this. So I'm just keeping it as auth.js. Click on the enter. So I have created a model file because the Sequelize works based on model. First, we need to import Sequelize from the Sequelize. S-C-Q-U-E, okay, Sequelize from Sequelize package. This is the first and foremost thing you must have to use. And second thing is nothing but importing Sequelize, I mean whatever the Sequelize that we created in the previous video, okay, from the DB helper file. DB helper file actually present in the same directory, so we don't need to move anywhere else. We can keep it as it is. These two things are actually required to create the model file. Keep that in mind. The model should actually match the same structure as present in the table. Okay, that's how it should be. Let me open the table. Within this YouTube, I do have a registration table. Of course, this specific table needs to have one more field called salt. Let me add that. Okay, and the default value for that, we can able to change that. The column that we wanted to add can be implemented here as well. But what I'm going to do is, let me go to the structure, I mean let me go to the SQL. I'm going to alter. Okay, I wanted to alter the table. Alter table, and table, and we don't need to mention the thing. Now registration is the table. I'm going to add a new column called salt. Okay, and this is going to be the varchar field of, I'm just keeping it as 100. That's it. I'm going to add a new column called salt to the registration table. Click on OK, and you able to see that the query ran successfully. Click on the registration and you able to see we do have one salt field. That's it. This is the changes that we must have to do in the DB side. When creating the table, I forgot to do that. That is what the development is. Whenever you are developing, when you are progressing further, you will be doing many more changes. Okay, you just have to keep that in mind. Now what we are going to do is, let me create the registration, because the table that we have in the DB, right, that is nothing but the registration. I'm just going to keep the same name here. This is where we'll be using the Sequelize that we have imported. Define. Okay, this is the just following the same thing they have mentioned in the Sequelize documentation. Okay, that's how. The table name is nothing but registration, and in the second parameter you must have to pass whatever the field that we have in the table. The first and foremost, we need to have the username, password, and then the salt. First, let me have username, password, and then salt. These three fields are actually we are kept within the registration table. Username, we are going to define what type of data it is and what type of data you are going to store in that. The type of data I'm going to store in the username is nothing but string type. This string type actually comes from Sequelize. The size that we are going to give here, right, that should actually match the size of the username here. We can go to the structure and you will be able to see the username size is actually 20. We can just give 20 here. That's it. It should be a same, then only it should work properly. Okay, else it will not. Allow null, no, it should not allow any null value. Okay, so allow null should be false. That's it. This is how we need to make changes for password as well and reset as well. Let me copy paste the same thing as it is and then change it respectively. Whatever it may be the field that we have, everything going to have a varchar. So just changing the size alone would be enough. Now we are done with the registration. Now we are done with the changes. Also, if this is not mandatory to pass any value, I mean the size for the string type, you can just keep it as it. Shouldn't be an issue at all, but that is a good practice to keep the sizes. Okay, that's thing. Now we have done with the model creation. Now we need to write some method to insert data into the registration and then fetch data from the registration. Let me create the method exports. Okay, exports dot registration, whatever the name that you wanted to give, just give it, shouldn't be an issue. This registration going to accept email, and that is nothing but username, just maintaining the naming convention. Username and then password. This password is actually the encrypted password. Along with the encrypted password, I will be getting the salt. I want to Okay, I wanted to insert all those three data into the registration table. Let me have this registration. This is the reference that we have for the Sequelize table that we have created. Registration dot create method. Okay, using this create method only, we are going to insert data into the registration table. This create method accepts an object. Okay. This object should match the structure that we have in the database. Now we have username, copy that, paste it, and then this username. Likewise, you have to map, then only it will be insert as it is. But you can see the variable that I have here, the column that I have in the table, both are in the same case. So it shouldn't be an issue for me to copy paste the same thing. Just to copy, paste, and then copy salt as well, because we need the salt to verify whether the user entered the correct password or not. This create method return two different approaches. First is the then to access the result. I'm just going to have the result and then this specific one. Along with approach, I'm having a catch method to handle if it have any error. That's it. These two things we need to handle. The first and foremost thing, if it is come to the result, then return success. That's it. We don't need to have anything, just success. The registration is success without any issue. But if it in case if it has any error, console log it. Error, just username. This is the default syntax. This is nothing but the single tick that we have over the tab key, and then type whatever the string that you wanted to have. Registration failed. Okay, and then error message dollar symbol curly braces, within that I can pass the error message. That's it, so that you can have handled that. The problem that we have here is I get the success response, I just return it. Okay, this return only able to reach up to this place, but this return could not return anything from the file. To achieve that, just return it. That's how it should be. Okay, now we have done with the registration process, and this specific registration needs to be invoked in the controller. We can close the db file, we don't need that. And we have the endpoint. Where is the endpoint? We haven't invoked that endpoint yet. Let's do that. Let's do that. Now we are done with the registration part. Now what we need to do is we need to invoke the model registration method in the controller. That we can do in the next video. Till now, please stay tuned and thank you guys.